Marriage is honorable, but how do you make it memorable? Now, on this video, I will be sharing my top 3 ways to honor your marriage to make it memorable. Welcome to the all new Total Marriage Transformation channel. I'm Dr. Delroy Fredericks of Hope Conquers Marriage Enrichment, and I've been married for over 18 years to my beautiful wife, Winnet. I have written this book, Conquering Distress for a Better Marriage, transformation that produces lasting change. And over the past 15 years or so, I've helped so many couples transform their marriage through workshops, seminars, programs, and courses. But on this channel, I help couples personally and spiritually overcome difficult situations so that they can create the loving and functional family and marriage that they desire. Now let's get into the video. The Bible says marriage is honorable, honorable in all. And when you start to think of this word honorable, what comes to mind? I think of something valuable. I think of something highly esteemed. I think of something that's most precious. I think of something that is of good report, good reputation. But how do you honor your marriage to make it more memorable? A marriage that you're proud of. You're happy to say that you're married, even in the good times or bad times. A marriage that brings memories back to the day that you were married. The beautiful time, the time spent, not only in the preparation, but you can remember that day. That day was memorable. How can you make it memorable today, 10 years after, 15 years after, 25 years after? I want to give you 3 ways. I'll give you 3 ways, and the last way may surprise you. So, number one, I need you to honor your marriage with your thinking. Now, why is thinking important? Well, whatever you think about your marriage and even your spouse will manifest in what you say and what you do. Did you know that? Now think of your spouse and marriage the way God thinks of it, because this is going to be a game changer for you. So I started to think of my spouse the way God thinks of my spouse. And you can start by saying, I believe that my spouse is God's best for me. And when you do that, you will start to see that your thinking is not only going to change, but you are going to start to honor your spouse in a different way. I need you to consider it an honor to be married and to be a part of God's highest ordained institution. So, to honor with your thinking may require you to take some drastic actions. Let me tell you what I mean. Now, I remember the first time I decided to think up of a name, and this is an exercise I'm going to encourage you to do for my spouse. And the idea was to think of her the way I believe God thinks of her. Think of her in a way that was honorable and also was going to be memorable. And I came up with this: royal, mighty woman of God. Think of it: royalty, mighty, and a woman of God. She is a child of the Most High. Now, I'm going to give you the opportunity to create a name that you believe that God sees your spouse as. But I'll tell you why this name now that you've created will become important a little bit later. But for now, I need you to create it, a name that will honor your spouse with your thinking. And I need you to do it, even if sometimes you may not feel like it. Think it, because that's what God says about your spouse and marriage. Are you getting this? Number two, I need you to honor your wife or your spouse or your husband with your speaking. So, first, you're thinking, now with your speaking. Now, you've heard this saying: life and death are in the power of the tongue. But when is the last time when was the last time you told your spouse off? Or better yet, when was the last time your spouse told you off? You see what I did there? You just remember the last time your spouse told you off, but oddly enough, you forgot the last time you told your spouse off. But it doesn't even matter because the goal is if we can change the way we think, we can change the way we speak, and we're going to minimize the times that either you tell your spouse off, or if your spouse is looking at this video, it's going to minimize the number of times your spouse will tell you off. Because think about it. When you tell your spouse off, does it build up or destroy your spouse? Does it help or hurt the marriage? Does it help or hurt the person individually? Of course it does. That is why I need you to focus on speaking positively, even in the difficult times, even the times when you're upset. Yes, you may gotta cool off. I get all of that. But don't go about saying things that you will regret. So, so, so important. And you can also reframe the way that you think of something, even if at that particular time the facts are showing, the evidence are showing that this is what is happening. What do I mean? For example, don't say my spouse is difficult to talk to, but instead say I'm working on improving communication so that it'll be easier for my spouse and I to talk. Now, in the 18 years of marriage, at the time of recording this video, I had to learn this over time, but it takes practice. Don't give up. And what's good is that speaking life makes conversations more honorable and more memorable. That is the goal. Now, before we go into the last way to honor and to make your marriage more memorable, you can leave me a comment because I want to hear from you in terms of why you believe it's important to speak life over your spouse and your marriage. I really love to hear from you. So leave me a comment and I'll respond to you. Number three, I need you to honor your wife or your husband or your spouse with your actions. Actions, number three, and this may surprise you. I'll tell you why. Actions, you've heard this saying, speaks louder than words. Right. But did you know your actions are generally the results of the way you think and even the way you speak? Did you know that? It's amazing. What's surprising is many couples struggle as they attempt to honor with their actions first without mastering thinking and even speaking. But when they change, and it may take some time to learn this and to practice this, but when they change their thinking, the actions become more easier to do. That is why I want you to focus on mastering the top two, your thinking and your speaking. And then I want you to be intentional on taking action. And I'll tell you why. Let me give you the specifics of the story I told you about in terms of when I created a new name for my wife. Yes, I thought about it. Yes, I started to speak where I would call her Royal Mighty Woman of God. But I even went further. I changed the name in my contacts to Royal Mighty Woman of God. And I'll show you how powerful this is. I've seen this work over the years that I've done it. And I've gotten so many feedback from couples that I've helped, even uh, to do this one thing that I believe can truly change the dynamics of your marriage. Here's an example. When I see the royal, mighty woman of God shows up on my phone, and it's call is coming in. It does not matter. I come to the place where I recognize that I am about to take the call of royalty, a mighty woman of God who happens to be a child of the Most High, tell me, how do I approach a child of the Most High? I'm going to watch what I think. I'm going to watch how I speak. I'm going to watch my actions because I understand that my thinking and my speaking can truly determine the way I act and the way I respond. This is powerful, and that is why I've come to realize that I can honor and you can honor your spouse and make your marriage much more memorable when you do that. So, I want to encourage you. I promise you, if you do these three things consistently, it will make your marriage more honorable and more memorable. So, you have to take action today. Now, if you have found this video valuable, subscribe. I post a new video every week, and as usual, like and share and comment on other ways that you believe that you can honor to make your marriage more memorable. I love to hear from you, and I will respond to all comments. See you in the next video.